What's up, Extra Butter listeners? On today's episode, we dive into number 3 out of 4 of the largest differences between audience and critic scores via Rotten Tomatoes. Anything at 30% or over entered the Wheel of Doom, or whatever we want to call it. Spin the wheel, find the next movie. On today's episode, we talked about It Comes at Night, a 2017 horror mystery film with an 88% critic score and a 44% audience score. So a 44% difference, which is massive. I think it ranks at number 2 for the 3 we've watched so far in terms of man versus the people. We also give a Lilo and Stitch preview, as a few of us went out and saw the new movie out in theaters now of the childhood classic that the 4 of us grew up watching. We have a story and an introduction to my dog. And as always, there's a couple gears to grind. Make sure you go find us over on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And follow us over now on TikTok. Trial run. We'll see how it goes. None of us are big TikTok guys, big posters. See how it goes with our reels and clips from the podcasts. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and X, the Everything app. Everything happens on X. Roll the tape.
Extra, extra butter on the corn for me. Extra, extra butter. I hope they don't charge a fee. But it won't matter anyway. I got a good movie to play. I'm gonna ask my friends to stay extra butter for me.
This is episode 7. And gentlemen, I got to start off with a story about Ivy. You guys all know Ivy. She's about 3.5 on a good day pounds. Small Chinese crescent mixed with a teacup Chihuahua, just to try to paint you a picture here. And one of her personality traits is when you leave her alone, she does the howl, right? She doesn't really bark. It's more of a howl. So the last week or so, we've been coming home. And like any other dog, they're pumped to see it, right? Right at the door, freaking out, going around, whatever. Since last Thursday, something like that, she's been, like, we get home, she's making some whining noises and can't calm down, running around, whatever, right? Don't think much of it. She's a dog, pumped, getting a little bit of anxiety like she has. Continues and continues, right? So she starts doing the whining when you're sitting with her, or we get to bed, she likes to burrow, you put a blanket over her, she starts howling, like, we're right there. So, like, something is clearly not right with her, because this is also a dog that had teeth infection for, I don't know how long. The vet told us very common in Chihuahuas, you can't, like, they won't let us brush their teeth, you do all you want, eventually their teeth are going to go bad. So she dealt with that for however many years before we actually realized something was wrong. So all of her teeth are pulled. So you know this dog has a high level of tolerance for something wrong with her. So anyway, last night we're going to bed, and she is just losing it, digging into the cupboard, like just not normal. So this morning we call the vet. I take her in at about 9:30. They schedule us for 3:30. It's all we can do. I'm like, well, I can either take her in now, or I'm going to kill her, because those are the two options. Like, she's going to die here while I'm trying to work, or I'm bringing her in. And Chelsea's like, okay. They said you can drop her off, sign off on the form, whatever. Bring her into the vet, do the check-in, we leave. They call Chelsea like noon, 11 o'clock, whatever. Hey, checkup's fine. Seems normal. We're gonna run some x-rays, some blood work, and do a sonogram if that's okay with you, because they have to call us for a certain amount of money to pay. So, of course, right, something's wrong with our dog. We're going to pay for it. We go for it. Wife gets home. Here's what they told me. They x-rayed. Everything's fine. They did blood work. Everything checks out. We ran the sonogram, and what it looks like is she's got a lot of gas built up back in her stomach. She's, like, constipated is the problem. Like, she just can't shit.
That would make me howl, you know.
Right. So, it's like you're kicking yourself like, gosh, we just spent buku bucks for this. And, again, you want to make sure your dog's all right. I do it 10 more times. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You're gonna pay what it costs. But yeah, it basically, she needs some laxatives or something because she ain't pooping real good, which is wild because like what I noticed now after they told us is every time she's doing it and I get up, what do you want? And you say what? Goes to the door. She's always been good about going out. Take her out 15 times a day, go on a little walk. She's acting normal, completely normal out of everything else. Get back inside, even if she did take a dump, still whining. Something's wrong. So, moral of the story here, at some point in this pod, I don't know, she's laying next to me on the couch here. She could just, when I got home today and she also left for work, like, she had to sit in my lap, and I thought this whole pod she was going to be sitting right here. And I got her, after a while, sit on my lap, put her over on the couch underneath the blanket. She's probably staring at me right now. I don't want to look because I don't want to rile her up. But at some point, if you hear somebody dying, it's probably because it's just my dog screaming like a child. So.
I think she was looking forward to the pod, and now she's chilling and watching the boys on the screen.
Yeah.
And listening to you talk about the movie.
Well, I will say, since we started talking, she had repositioned herself in the blanket to her head leaning out the side, looking at me and at you guys. So let's just cross our fingers and hope for the best. Thank goodness she's okay. But very funny nonetheless. Of all these tests, she's completely fine. But we did notice she's a little backed up in the old rear end.
That's just like a classic dog story. Like, I know it probably happens to cats too, but just something's wrong with like faking a paw injury or acting different, and it's just because they got to poop, you know.
Oh yeah.
And there's no way to tell unless you go to a vet.
Yeah, you can't talk to them.
No, and I went in there, and I'm in the check-in room, and the vet tech's in there. She'd never seen her. Everybody just crazes over when you go in there. If they know her, they're pumped up, but if they don't, everybody's, oh my God, she's so small. Yeah, I know, she's 10. Like, she's not a puppy.
I
Get
have
in
the
the vet tech
complete
room.
opposite effect.
Yeah. Well, we get in the vet tech room, dude, and is she friendly? I'm like, sometimes, you know, like little dogs, you never know. And usually with adults, completely fine. Other dogs, kids, not so much. Checks her temperature in her ear, and I could see Ivy's kind of face turning, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And then gets the heartbeat thing out, whatever scope that's called, to get underneath the little t-shirt she's got on, just starts growling. And this, you know, the lady backs up. I'm like, she doesn't have any teeth, if that helps. You know, like, just gummy, you know. So, yeah, that's she's all screamed. There's no barking coming out of that dog.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty crazy how much comes out of that small little dog for volume.
Oh,
yeah.
it's always the small dogs too.
Nope, she's all good. Just got to deal with getting some poopy out of the old rear end there. But
Good luck.
in movie news, Lilo and Stitch. I saw it actually last week after we finished the pod. Immediately hopped in the car, went to the theater and watched Lilo and Stitch. My take on it was they did a great job. I thought, you know, from what I expected, I didn't really think there was going to be. I thought it was just Stitch, you know, and not a lot of the other aliens. Because I know back in the day they came out with a TV show where they got all the different numbers and they're trying to bring them back and capture them and whatnot. And they did include some other characters from the original movie. I thought for a kids movie after seeing Sinners, you know, a couple weeks prior, I thought they did a nice job touching to our age group of people who grew up on that movie. Probably watched it countless times. Feel good movie. They did it justice, and I know that a couple of you guys saw it too, but wanted to hear your takes on it. But I thought it was a nice movie.
Yeah, I saw it the day after you did. So when you texted me, you're like, yeah, going tonight. I was like, all right, I'm going tomorrow. And Disney's been on a streak now where they're kind of repurposing all their IP to live action movies. And this one, I think, is at the top of the list out of all those. I think that they nailed a bunch of the CGI, and the story is the Lilo and Stitch movie, right? But they did a great job, in my opinion. Lexi was crying next to me half the movie.
Well, I thought to myself, and I think I mentioned it last week, that I definitely was going to be a movie that would get some tears going, and did pretty well until the back end, right? And, you know, you get a little bit more out of Stitch, and you kind of get the back end of it and don't want to give anything away. But the waterworks will start to approach towards the back end of the movie. But, yeah, I thought the casting was incredible.
Yeah.
The casting was spot on.
Lilo, perfect.
Well, and I thought Lion King and Mufasa were both pretty good too in terms of redoing some movies in live action. And with those, the whole thing is CGI, right? So when you can combine the two and add the human element into it, I thought it was pretty lights out, and would definitely recommend to go watch that.
I've never understood why Lion King is considered live action. It's the whole thing's animated, guys.
That's a solid point.
That's a good point. I have not seen Lilo and Stitch yet, but I am excited. I've heard good things from you guys and from everybody else. I'll dive in. Either that or I'll wait for it to come out, but I got some good ones on the hopper for hopping in the theaters.
It's exciting to get back in and start to push it because, you go through that lull period of not going for however many years unless there's one spot movie that comes out that you happen to see a preview for that you want to go see. But now getting back into looking into what's coming out, what to see next, I'm just jacked up because there's not a better experience.
No.
When you get back into it, it's like there's nothing comparable to it.
Yeah, and it's crazy how long I went without going to see the movies, and now I'm looking at trailers constantly, like, oh, this looks good. Oh,
they're popping up more too, or maybe I'm noticing.
Yeah, no, I think that's the writer's strike. Like, I think that affected a lot of it on the you just had COVID, so it's still recovering a couple years later, and then the writer's strike right after that. I mean, all your production the last 5 years has been cut and quarter.
True. I always forget about that.
Crit, I know you saw it. I would love to hear a little bit of your take on it.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up a list of things. Yeah, I watched, Sunday night, and then we went Monday. Yeah, I mean, they did some things that were, I was like, damn, they forgot to include that, and then they snuck it in at the end. It's kind of nice. Like, I'm not going to say what it was, but there's just some things that they snuck in at the very end. So yeah, it was a feel good, like you guys are saying. So overall it's good. But yeah, here's a list of some upcoming movies.
Jungle Book is my all-time childhood movie. Oh. So to bring it back again, I thought and I'm sure we'll watch Mowgli at some point because we'll probably do a theme of.
I haven't watched that one.
Mowgli, yeah, Jungle Book OG is incredible. Aristocats was
the OG one. Yeah, I thought they remade it.
Aristocats is probably 1B for me as a child. I love that.
Don't they have a main or a base cast for Hercules out, Crit?
I don't know.
I thought I saw somebody.
I don't see much on it. The further down the list it is, the further out it is. Okay. I think it is.
I thought I saw something on it.
There might be someone, but
third Maleficent, dude. Jeez, I didn't think the second. I don't remember the second Maleficent. Do you guys?
I don't think I watched the first one.
Yeah, no.
And that's not really my bread and butter.
It's something to touch on too that you guys enjoyed Lilo and Stitch, but then what was the one? The Snow White was getting all that hate in the last couple months when it came out.
Dude, the old character was bagging on the original movie. Said it was scary, never watched it again. I just watched a clip of that today.
Yeah.
And you wonder why it's getting bad reception.
I think the lead got dogged or ran through the mud for kind of tanking the movie. I haven't seen it.
I'm sure. I haven't heard a good thing about that movie, and it pretty much just went straight.
Hey, it goes to saying that all publicity is good publicity. No, not the case.
Depends on the crowd.
I didn't even know that one even came out until I heard the shit about the girl tanking the movie. Like they casted completely wrong, and you see what happens. But I hadn't even know that existed until the aftermath.
Right. Same.
But excited to see those because it's just going back to that list Chris just had pulled up. It just fires you.
Nostalgia is like a drug. It's so nice to get a little shot back in your chest.
And all those movies were our movies, so it's like.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. Is like that list is one theme, repurposed movies. It's not what else is going to be coming out. So a lot to be said about getting back into like theater culture and like really being excited about going to see a movie. So Lilo and Stitch, get out and see it. Incredible movie. Great take on the old school film and all animated. Would recommend 10 out of 10. So, would love to hear this week's Gears to Grind. I think I might have one. We might pocket it, but I know one of you guys have one first.
Yeah, I'll start this one off. I want to talk about office building etiquette. When we first moved into our building, we were like the only one on the floor, pretty quiet, right? And since then, a lot of companies has moved in, and every time you walk to the elevator lobby, there are people taking phone calls for business, for personal. Like, none of them are in their offices on the phone taking these calls. They're 2 to 3 people at a time are just in the hallway talking, whether it's personal or like personally business related, where you should not talk. Like, they're talking numbers. They're in the bathrooms talking on their phone. And I can't stand it, man. Just you have this, and they have 2 offices. So it's like, you didn't put a little room in there to take like little personal calls or something, man. Our office is half the size, and we have that. And they're in the elevator. They're like ants, and you're just listening to conversations. Like, the guys are peeing on the phone. Talk about scheduling stuff.
Hey.
Well, I'd say this because I work in an office building too. My role, we're on the phones a lot. So yeah, I mean, we've got the conference room, or we've got little rooms to go take a phone call. But granted, we also can do that for work. But yeah, I mean, it almost goes back to just public etiquette, right? Not even like office building etiquette.
It's just in an office building, I should say. But yeah, just public etiquette. Just know where you're at, and just have consideration for other people. Well, what it comes down to.
It's weird because if I'm on a personal phone call, like on a train or on a bus or in a car, like maybe, hey, I'll call you back. I'm in the middle. I'm in a vehicle. I don't want people. People don't need to know your business, right? So keep your personal calls personal. But yeah, I not a huge fan of that either. But I'm not even talking office etiquette. I'm talking just in general. Like. Don't put your life out there. Be smart about that.
It's just weird. Like, I'm not an office guy or construction, but I mean, in public, when you're talking about anything really on the phone, like, you're just throwing it out there. Anybody can listen.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's not as crazy, but I definitely understand where you're coming from. And I didn't really want to get into this one, but I did have a gear to grind that could open a can of worms. And I guess the general topic would just be girl stuff. There's a lot of it. I don't want to get too far into it because I could go on forever.
That's a rabbit hole.
Oh,
that's a rabbit hole.
But I'm getting in the shower, right? We've got a little whiteboard. What do we need? Whether it's specific grocery item, TP, paper towel, whatever, right? Like things we ran out of. And I had body wash on there, right? Pretty straightforward. We got shampoo, conditioner, body wash running a little low. It gets erased, so I naturally, right, we got it. Get in the shower, and I see this bottle that says 24-hour skin lotion. That's not body wash to me, right? So I go to the store, come back with some body wash, and I get a little lecture. You didn't like the full bottle we had in there? What bottle are we talking about? Pick it up again. This says 24-hour skin lotion. It's not body wash. Like, I assume this is lotion. I should wear lotion. My hands are dry all the time. Colorado's a dry state. And they turn it around in the fine print body wash. Like, no, you know what? No. Like, let's advertise the item on the front here as not 24-hour skin lotion.
Right.
That is not a guy thing. You go to the men's section body wash.
Old Spice.
We'll buy like shampoo, conditioner, body wash, the brands that we could both use. I'm not too, adamant about Old Spice or whatever. Came home with some Method Man. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm getting some body wash. I actually looked for the brand we normally get. Couldn't find it. I couldn't navigate the Target I was in to figure out where the body wash is to compare to the shampoo. I'm right next to the conditioners. See the brand I like. It's shampoo, conditioner, 8 bottles of the same brand. No body wash. Walk aisles, end up in the makeup section at Ulta. Screw this. We're going to the men's section because I know exactly where that's at. Next to there's 4 items. It's like beard stuff, hair stuff, razors,
7 in 1.
Fucking body wash. Yeah.
That's why they have it.
Yeah. Girls don't use that stuff. Make it easy. It's not hard.
That stuff can't be real either. The 7-in-1's like, there's no way it addresses each of those issues in a single bottle. There's no way.
I disagree. I think it addresses the issue. But why would we have shampoo and body wash if you could have a 3-in-1? It's not conditioning, shampooing, and body washing you.
My man will be lazy enough, or he'll just wash his body with shampoo if he's got it. Soap, right? Soap.
I've done that plenty.
Yeah, soap. It'll clean you up.
Put it on the loof and just rub it away.
Yeah,
It soaks up the same.
Here's a question for you, Brendan. How often do you use her products?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to. Like, we typically will buy the brands that would be probably more marketed towards females. I can't think of the brand off the top of my head, but there's a couple I like.
Probably fantastic.
It smells great.
Yeah.
I don't use the specific products where you got like 18 bottles of stuff where you got to use this one on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But if you use it on a Wednesday, your hair might fall out.
Every day is an everything shower.
Get this man some Dr. Squatch.
I fun fact, do have 2 Dr. Squatches.
I also have.
One's a Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
I need to get in.
I have the Captain America, the Iron Man, the Spider-Man, and the Thor.
Here's a question then: Do you use them?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have deodorant sticks. I think that's Thor and Captain America, and then Iron Man and Spider-Man were my bars of soap. So I've been using those.
You freaking
They smell good, man. Likes.
What does Spider-Man smell like?
I have a question.
No, that one was like a smooth soap, and then the Iron Man one has the abrasions in it for like scrubbing. I guess
You'd think the spider one would have abrasions, you know?
You'd think, man, but
they're grippy.
That's how you market to me. I'm that simple.
The reason I ask is because the 2 bars I have, one was like a Christmas present, so Christmas brand, and flowers to Dr. Squatch for their branding is on point.
Oh.
Like, the shit that they do is unbelievable. But the reason I ask if you use them is because I have a Flamin' Hot Cheetos bar, and I have a like Christmas theme bar. I can't remember what it's called, but I haven't used them because it's like they're just cool, right? Like it's it's almost like memorabilia.
Memorabilia.
Yeah, memorabilia. It's like an item you'd have in a man cave, like a Flamin' Hot Cheetos soap bar, or like I don't use them. That's why I asked. But on the flip side, I just saw they released, which is just classic because so many people are going to buy it. Sydney Sweeney's like bath water.
That's not real. I looked it up. I saw that.
Oh, dude, I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I was shocked.
I think she's actually partnered with them. The bath water and the soap is not real.
Okay, thank God. I mean, you know how many bars they would have sold, but like that's just to me like we got to draw the line somewhere, and that's just opening the door to be weird. And like you put a girl like that in public, and you got her bathwater soap bar. Like,
we sign it?
No way. Huh?
Sign the bar soap.
I think it just opens the door to be weird. Like,
oh yeah,
it's too far. My body with your bathwater. Like that's just. That is we got to draw the line somewhere. So I'm glad that that's not real because that would be, I don't know, not something I would purchase. Funny, not something I would purchase.
Moving on from cleaning products.
Yeah, got sidetracked there. But this week's movie, part 3 of Rotten Tomatoes critics versus audience score, as we call it, the man versus the people. Mentioned earlier, 88% critics score, 44% audience score, so massive difference here. 44% is large. Warcraft was 47, still has the totem pole for biggest discrepancy there. But jumping into It Comes at Night, 2017, so back-to-back horror films for us, advancing up almost 10 years, 8 years on the dot there, give or take a few months. And getting back to horror, we found out kind of last week who was a horror fan and who wasn't. So interested to see what we thought of this one. Trav, fill us in on the movie.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying welcome to Trav's new mic and new webcam.
Looks good, buddy.
We're all locked in now. Yeah, I'll give us a little intro here. Give me a sec. So, we got a family in the woods. They're mourning the loss of the grandpa of the family to a weird sickness. They don't really know what's going on. And after a break-in to their house that they're staying, it's the grandpa's house, and a deadly encounter, or after they break in and they have a deadly encounter, they bring a family to help with safety and food supplies. While this is all happening, Travis, which is a great name, is the younger guy of the host family. He's having visions in his sleep, and they come from the night. Boys, what do you think? Was this confusing to you guys? Did you get the whole movie? What'd you think?
I think it's better than Drag Me to Hell. I'll give you that. What I didn't like was how throughout the entire movie it's just kind of leading you on, which is kind of the point. I get that. But hearing psychological horror and going into this, I guess my perception was a little skewed. So it's so hard because I liked it up until I got to the point where I'm like, I'm over this movie. So, throughout the whole thing, I thought it was all put together well, kept leading you in well, and then I'm halfway through and I'm just like, are we going to get somewhere?
Yeah. No, and I think I'd love to step in second because you guys know I have my 3 boxes to check. The music, the set stage, the gotcha. And all I could think about this entire movie was the triangle that Trav introduced last week. When you can only have 2 of the 3 in the triangle, right? You got the story, the gore scare, and the special effects. And I still haven't decided whether or not I agree or not with that triangle. And I don't mean the triangle itself agreeing with, but does you only get 2? Can you sometimes get 1? Do you get 3 and it has to be the best film ever? I don't know about the logistics around it, but I did go into this movie thinking about that. And when it came down to the triangle, I had to rate it as this. It had 0 of the 3 for me. This movie was horrible. This was a terrible movie. This movie went nowhere, to your point. It started nowhere. The first scene, I put almost checked the box for gotcha because it had the opening scene that I do enjoy, but it didn't explain a whole lot. Did it set the stage? I don't know. The music was meh. I gave X's in all 3 boxes. I thought this movie was awful. I love getting into these horror movies because I watch them religiously, and
But it's not horror. It's not horror.
I know, and that's my point. Is I probably have seen this, and I thought that going into it, and then I watched it. We got through it, and I thought to myself, if I had seen this, now I remember why I don't remember watching it because it was horrible.
I'm with you on not checking any of the triangle boxes, but I enjoyed pieces of the fact that it was shot well. I liked the scenery. I liked being in the woods. I liked some of the action scenes, but like you guys are saying, it really did. There was lines cast out and no fish were biting. I had nothing, no nibbles, no nothing. When the first scene comes out and you get the first kind of jump scary shit, and you're like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. This movie's going to be full of that shit. A bunch of sick people.
I'm hooked for the first 30 minutes.
Yeah. And then it just never came around.
So, I didn't get hooked one time. Not a single hook went in my body. And I watched it the same way I watched Drag Me to Hell on my computer, AirPods in, wanted to run that back, gassed that up last time. 0 goosebumps, 0 jump scares, nothing got me. And it became a psychological thriller, like Guy said, and I think I didn't know that going into it, and I realized that, pretty early on, that's probably what we were getting, unless factor, we saw what it was, because it comes at night,
right.
And it just never hooked me.
So I pulled a definition for a psychological horror, and it says, rather than drawing out a visible threat like zombies or an apocalyptic terrain, the anticipation of a threat is drawn out. This kept drawing, and it never delivered anything.
No.
And I've seen plenty of those movies that I
Right.
like.
And
Don't
they're
Look
all
Up.
done better.
Don't Look Up is a movie I'm sure we'll get to, which we say that about every movie because hopefully we get to all of them. We never will, but hopefully we do.
40 by the time we get to it.
I thought of that movie because it is like, and there's other ones that are out there, but you get it. At some point you kind of get it. And like, I got it, but it didn't do nothing happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Before getting into the first scene, I don't know if you have any more initial thoughts, but
I honestly, I know how we normally run these and whatever, and we're going to go kind of throughout the whole movie. It's going to be hard to talk about pieces of scenes that get us anywhere, that make us think of anything. You know, we're basically just going to, that's what happened. And maybe we can say what we thought should have happened or what would have happened if it would have gotten us, you know? But yeah, I don't know.
The last thing I'll say is that I felt like you, Brendan, until I looked up the movie to get an explanation of what I just watched, and it's made me understand it more. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't have to do that.
No.
I did the same thing because I think I'd done this with Brutalist or something that's kind of a special feature that will release at some point when it comes to the Oscars, and I had to look up what the hell did I just watch. And I was looking up themes, and I saw them, and they made sense, and it didn't change anything for me.
No.
Like
it made me appreciate it a little more, like, okay, that's what they were trying to do. But at the same time, I will never watch that movie again.
It didn't portray it well. Like,
Right. Agree.
To Chav's point, I do agree. The shooting of the movie and the scenery and like the shots and the production itself, I thought was very good.
The A24 studios, I think that them being in on it made it where the shooting and the production of the movie was good, but the plot and the meat and the potatoes of the movie is probably what was missing, you know?
Awful.
Yeah.
That is what I got. But you get into it, and they do have, like I said, the opening scene, the grandfather, the father of the wife, Sarah, is infected by whatever it is. You know, it got him, and they got to put him down. And what I did think was cool, has nothing to do with like the plot of the movie at all, was the bullet to the head, pillow over the sheet, silencer kind of. Little made up silencer did a good job, and that's what I got out of that scene. Was like that was kind of cool. Like that's a good way to silence something, and I think I've seen that in other movies, but worked out well. And they burned the body, throw him in the ditch, and we're off and running.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good intro.
Next scene.
Yeah, no, but in terms of introductions to movies, you know, this one and that it accelerated it so fast. Here's what it does to you. This is how you handle it. And then the rest of the movie, you're like, what is, like, where is it?
Yeah, that intro could have been tied to such a better...
You could have put that in the middle of the movie, and it would have made more sense. Like...
Well, that scene, I literally wrote down after the opening scene. I put, like, I'm assuming that we're going to get into it here, because that didn't do anything for me.
Right.
Like, yes, you get the infection, like, that's
right. That's it. You see what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
You're introduced to it 30 seconds into the film.
The aftermath of what it could happen, they do that well.
Yeah, that was it.
But you didn't look pretty cool too. Pretty dope cabin.
The cabin was cool, and the red door.
Massive cabin. To be fair, that thing was huge.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. And I love Joel Edgerton. Like, I don't want to take that away. I do love Joel Edgerton. I thought he did a good job, but he was given, you know.
Yeah. No, I thought all the acting was fine. Yeah, my only gripe is the story itself and how it was delivered. That's it.
I would agree.
And that's on the director at the end of the day, man, because when you leave everything as a mystery, like, nothing's mysterious. I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, and like, you get the movie starts going, and I was just like, what is going on? Like, I didn't know what was going on.
Whole movie, I'm like, what is going on?
I probably wrote that down multiple times, and I'll probably say it multiple times because it is going to be a movie that you watch that you do not have a clue what the hell is going on. But they when they introduce the red door and they're shooting that cool shot down the hallway. And I know that we kind of talked about this prior, but the pictures on the wall, they paid homage to Lil Wayne's Carter album. First shot is they're scanning the hallway and there's like a little graduation picture of, I'm assuming, Travis, and it looks like Carter. I don't know which one. Critter, you could probably help us out on this. Carter 3, Carter 4, I don't know. But it looks like a play on the Lil Wayne album, so Carter 4. So I noticed things like that. I don't miss a whole lot. I don't think you guys caught that.
No.
I didn't catch that. No.
I was looking to get scared by it.
I was looking to the left trying to figure. I was like, I always look in the dark places on like horror movies, so like I can see it coming. So it's like, even if it's like the shot is like off center, I'm always like looking around.
Yeah,
I will say, Brendan, and I don't think it was, but here, I'll show you.
Yeah.
It was close. Basically the gown is what got us.
it was
Green
damn
graduation gown. That was it.
Well, and Wayne's got tattoos on his face, but it had to have been a spin-off that because it looked too similar.
Right.
But I'm the same way, and I thought that shot was good, and it goes back to, again, like the cinematography, I think is the right word for it. The red door introduction, and red door ended up being important. I was doing the same thing, like assuming there was something there, and then you just get to the door, and I had written down red door with an arrow because I'm like, it has to come back to be important at some point. But yeah, that scene was cool, but all it showed us was the door, so you're expecting a lot to come from the door, and I think it didn't, right? Like it really didn't. I mean, it was important psychologically, to your point of the psychological horror. The door made a lot of sense. It was the gateway to what could have happened, and we didn't get a whole lot. But the red door, the way they introduced the red door, because they didn't introduce any characters that well to me, except for the guy Will. I think they did a good job kind of introducing his character because we're big on character introduction. Mm-hmm. But they introduced the door better than they introduced any of the characters.
I will say that the door banging, the audio, the visual of that scene, it gets you going. Like, okay, what's in there? What's coming through? Is it an entity? Is it an actual person? And I think I was actually disappointed that it was Will and actually a dude.
And that's the thing, Trav. The whole movie is like that, though.
Yeah.
Like you are literally questioning everything, which plays into the whole psychological part. This is what they're dealing with. I get that connection, but like I'm here to be entertained to some degree.
I think we're finding out that genre of horror is just not for us.
I was gonna say that.
You know,
I was gonna say that, like, there's a certain group of people out there that would love this movie. I think
it's a contested movie. Like, you either love it or you hate it. There is no in between here.
No, it isn't an okay movie. You know, like,
yeah,
there's a group of people this entertains, and there's a group of people like ourselves that it doesn't. And this one didn't. And you get to Will's introduction where there is the banging on the doors and someone's in the house. You know, that was a common thing.
Yeah.
Someone's in the house. So you're getting a little bit bought in, and you find out it's a guy who broke in outside the red door. I think Paul is the dad's name, and he goes out there and finds Will. I accidentally broke into your house. And you kind of find out the why behind it, but like, how do you accidentally break into something? You can't accidentally break into anything.
And the house is boarded up and everything, but like, you just came up on it in the middle of the night. Like, bullshit. You scouted that.
Well, and you know, there's like, if you're walking up on a place and it's boarded up, but I guess at night it'd be hard, but you should be able to tell that there's activity going on around.
Exactly. Boarded up or not, like, grass is cut, or farm animal, you know what I mean? Like, there's some forms of life displayed.
Mm-hmm. And he knocks him out, which
beat his ass.
I do the same.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We don't know what it is. We don't know what's plagued this world that this movie sets place in. So, like, you can't trust anybody. If you're living that secluded, you know, like, you're not trusting that guy with your wife and kid in the house.
Yeah.
So knocking him out and tying him to the tree, I would have done the same thing. But again, I wrote down like, we got to get somewhere. And we have to get somewhere in this movie. We didn't. And they tie him up to the tree. And then every time night would come back around, I kept getting excited for, we're going to get there.
It comes at night, like
literally.
He ties him up. I'm thinking we're going to get a corpse, some gnawed up, like him all infected. I thought we were going to get something because he left him out there at night. I thought there was a purpose to do that. To just like, hey, we're not fucking with this guy. Tie him up. Let that thing have it. And then we'll burn him in the morning.
Yeah, and I think that goes to probably my favorite scene of the movie was the conversation that they had when he was tied up to the tree prior to kind of cutting him off and earning the trust there was the back and forth. And are you who you say you are? Is this meaningful? Did you accidentally find this place? Have you been watching our place? Will does a nice job of the interaction there, and I think that was probably the best scene in my opinion for me. I thought I believed him. I believed Will. I thought he did a nice job of acting there, and I believed him. And
I thought he was lying.
Just because
of the nature of the situation, definitely thought, he was telling the truth at some point. And then I'm like, dude, you were literally 50 miles away and tracked to this house on foot, and then, oh no, that's 80 miles away. He was just giving so much information. I was like, well, the nature of the situation, he's definitely lying.
I thought the 50 miles kind of did it for me. That part was like, okay, 50 fucking miles is a long time. But if you were out scavenging for your family for 50 miles, I was like, okay, he has a wife and kid inside. That part of it has to be a little bit of, I believe this guy, right? If you pull the family card, it's hard to argue when you have a family of your own. So I was, at that point, I believed him.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in between. I was on the fence with a couple of things he said.
I would have had a better feel if I knew what it was.
Right.
Yeah. What comes at night? They left him out all night. We didn't see it. Obviously, he was still fine in the morning. But I would have had a better
50
feel.
miles, if it's something that's that severe, you're probably
it's
running
16 hours away.
By foot?
By foot. 16 hours.
Well, and you have to imagine, he's not, going...
And he's traveling at night. I know. It's just... How the fuck do you even know where you started from, bro? You're in the middle of the woods. You know what I mean?
I would have no idea.
No, that's why it's just that kind of took me out of it. I'm like, 50 miles? That's why I kind of thought he was lying, I was like, there's no way.
You get subtle hints, too, later in the movie of vibes from that conversation, too. And
right.
I don't know. It's easy to say.
Well, the family has that conversation at the dinner table, and they've got this weird, tribal, trippy music playing, and Travis is just staring in the middle of the table.
He was locked in.
At what? And then he just gets back in the conversation, what? There was just parts of this movie that, and I know we probably take some shit for talking about things that aren't realistic. It's a horror movie, none of it is, but what the hell was he looking at? And then he just gets back involved in the conversation?
Well, whatever he's got going on in his head is what's doing that. Whatever.
Right. It gives you the hint where...
Sorry,
I didn't mean to cut over.
No, you're good. Gives you the hint what?
It gives you the hint that something's kind of funky, whether it's psychological or physical. Something's kind of messed up with Travis here.
Yeah, because he is kind of the main eyes of this movie when it comes to that stuff. So it's the music's probably tying to him, the vibe, and the camera's looking right at him, looking into nothingness, and the vision he had when when the night after his grandpa,
yeah,
the vision
would be pretty messed up too.
And that's one of the things in the movie is the visions come at night.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. You know what I mean?
That got me, by the way. That got me.
Yeah,
we didn't cover that jump scare of the grandpa, but that one got me. It leaned me back in my chair a little bit. I should have seen it coming. But.
I
The music in this movie, though, I feel like the whole movie for the first, like, 50 minutes, like, really just had me, like, oh, and then by the time, like, you're past the halfway, it's just like, it's going to continue like this. Like, I'm not letting it suck me in. Let's just get this thing, like, let's get to where it's supposed to go.
The first 50 minutes had me writing on my notebook saying, no idea. No freaking idea. But they do agree to take Will in and, like, hey, let's go find your family. They got water. You got food. Make an exchange here. Obviously, we're whatever you said, post-apocalyptic. I don't know. Maybe that was what it was. It seemed like that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And they jump in the truck and they go. And I wrote down, he was just like showered up, and ready to roll. And I had a note that I thought you would be kind of fired up about that, Geese.
Yeah.
He just looked like, oh yeah, this guy was battered outside all night, got his ass kicked, he's dirty, bag off his head, and then he jumps in the truck and the guy just
into the truck.
And just he just looks,
into the clear.
Just looks great. Like just
chiseled.
Just cleaned up. But like they probably gave him a shower. I guess to my point, like I assumed that they probably let him shower up and we're ready to roll. But I thought that for some reason when I was watching, I thought that part would have stuck out to you. It was like, oh, and he's just fucking looks great. Like the guy just looks great,
I thought the exact same thing. Because him jumping into the truck, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's just
no.
I didn't make a comment about that. The comment I made about was like, dude, if you're outside with no clothes on all night, like you're gonna wake up with a lot more than just like black markings on you, like dirt. Like you're gonna be ate the fuck up.
Well, we didn't know what it was. We still don't know what it is. And then they go off and like guys shoot at the truck. That scene was pretty cool.
10 miles out. Yep.
And they get in a little gunfight, and I'm just thinking the whole time, like, why are we killing each other? Like, I don't know, like, if there's some sort of this craziness, and I guess it goes back to the psychological, where everybody's mind is just torched.
Yeah.
That everybody is a problem, then I get it, but I'm like, aren't we all on the same team here? Like, we're trying to identify whether or not you are still you.
Shooting at a random truck, I think, is the issue I have with that scene. Like, why were they shooting at those two?
What are they doing?
Just to take their truck, I feel like, which then kind of leads me to be on the side of Will knew these guys. So, and this is all the information I got because I looked it up afterwards to get explanations of like kind of people's theories and everything. So one of them was when they, those were Will's buddies. And when Paul's under the car and everything, he kills the guy and then Will gets out. So the theory was that Will was trying to get out to beat that other dude up and then take him hostage and not kill him. But then Paul just comes in and puts a bullet in him. He's like, no.
Paul is a protocol guy, and I couldn't respect it more. Like Paul had protocol. Like Paul, there was everything that they were going to do in this life that they were living. There was a protocol to it, and we were going to follow procedure, which I respected. No, we're not going to take this guy hostage. We're not taking any chances. They just shot at us. Put a bullet in them. We're going to go get your wife and kid. We're not dealing with this shit. Yeah. We didn't come out here to find another hitchhiker.
And they already shot us.
In our life.
Like, they just tried to kill us.
Paul was not playing any games, dude. There was never a doubt in my mind Paul was putting a bullet in that guy. And I respected Paul throughout the movie for sticking to procedure. Like, it was protocol, and we find out more about it later in the movie of when this happens, this is what we do. And he was even keel throughout his process that he had set in place throughout his family, anybody that was going to be involved with his family. We came out here to complete a task, and anything involved in that, after they just shot the window out of my truck and tried to kill me, yeah, right, we're taking this guy in. Like, there's no questioning here. Like, you're dead.
Part of me thinks, too, that he's been in a situation during this sickness thing where he's gotten burned, and then had to figure out, okay, I just got to kill everybody.
Yeah, I mean him or his friends or whoever
Yeah.
they used to be with, like
Yeah, like the immediate fallout of this pandemic is what drove him to do. It's like he already got burned because of just the initial fallout. Because he's a history teacher, right? So that would have been a school, and then you probably would have been, ground zero at a school. You would think, or obviously the like major cities, but those kids definitely probably didn't make it out.
no, no. And then they did get Will's family. Andrew and Kim enter the movie here. They get back, and that scene, and I don't remember exactly what happens, but Travis is just kind of giving me the creep vibes. He's kind of eyeing up Will's wife, like just kind of. And we saw, yeah, and like they're secluded, like the new girl enters the picture, and like he's had his visions, or at least one at this point, one dream nightmare, and he just kind of creeped me out. Like Travis was a creepy guy throughout the whole movie, and
yeah, but we learn why though.
I know, but he just is a creep, man. Like the guy was a creep.
He's up in the attic too. Remember, like up in the attic,
hears all that
stuff. Yeah,
and he's probably been doing that for a long time, just looking out his peephole. Like, do we know how long this movie takes place after the start of whatever caused it? Did they ever say that?
Do you think they tell us? No, not this movie.
No, open to interpretation. Could have been yesterday. Could have been 5 years ago.
No. Nope. And they kind of hit it off though, like the families. Yeah. And I thought that was like the build up to the drop, which I know that we will get to said drop, but it felt like they finally got somewhere at that point in the movie, or that like we were building to something here.
Right, building all the trust to break it.
Yeah, well, and that's where the sex scene's going on, and that to Trav's point of Travis being in the attic, of trying to hear what's going on, because again, I do respect the fact that he was the eyes and ears of the house. Yeah. Paul was the Warhammer for sure, the protector of the house, but Travis was the eyes and ears, and like we got these new people in here, and he just starts listening, and it became common for him to listen to what the hell was going on with this other family inside the house.
Smart though, at the end of the day, you always got to look out.
Have to.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be to do too. You know what I mean? He's probably bored out of his mind.
Well, I don't know if you guys would like if whatever the hell was going on in terms of this movie. If this was me and like you put yourself in his shoes, like I wouldn't be able to sleep with strangers in the house.
I would have never brought strangers to the house. That's like,
but it is a good point. If you just turn strangers away, they know exactly where you live.
Yeah,
how your house.
No, you gotta kill them.
Yeah,
that's it.
One or the other.
It was I mean, kill him is basically what the standard procedure was, and I think Paul did a good job of at least. I guess maybe this is the one lapse of judgment he had of being able to allow them or let this guy kind of spin him into allowing them to become part of their life, but.
And I say that, but at the same time, it didn't, right? Like, bringing that other family didn't change anything.
No, and then you get the next dream, and I just, every time I wrote down dream, ? Yep. Because the blood to the mouth, and I don't know, I think it was Kim or somebody's like, he starts, in his dream, he's starting to bang this chick that's in his house, and she starts vomiting
blood,
like black blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a dream. Like, I wanted it not to be, but it's another one of his little nightmares. And, you just kind of start to pick up on the predictability of the fact that everything that he's seeing is not real.
Yeah.
And that sucked for me because I found out very fast that dream, yep. Dream, yep. Like, that's just what it was. And
there were some instances where I was like, is this a dream or not? Right? Like,
no, that's kind of to my point. Is
there wasn't many, and most of those are like, all right, this is a dream.
Yeah, I think there was one later in the movie that I probably have a better notice of, but you always at least had to question it, which I thought you can kind of tip your cap to the movie at that point. Like, they did make you wonder if this was actually happening or not.
The whole movie was a wonder. You know, they just did it well at certain parts of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and then after that, though, like, he gets up and, like, he goes down to the kitchen and Kim's in there and they play a little game of what are we bringing to the fucking picnic? They're the desserts. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah.
She didn't have cupcakes and cookies and ice cream. Like, didn't have any of that. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we bringing to the picnic? Like, what?
What are we bringing? Yeah, no. What are we bringing to the picnic?
Let's set the stage for me, and then we can dive into it. Because
all right,
they talked about desserts, so let's set the stage, and I'm ready to bat.
I'm gonna set the stage for you here. Go up, foothills towards the mountains, surrounded by trees, up on a hill, and you got a lake, 20, 30 feet away from you. And then your backdrop is the overlooking, like, the city of Denver.
Okay.
What are you bringing to the picnic?
What I need, there's a couple more logistics I need here. What is I'm assuming the weather's nice. Like nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sunny day, slightly shady, no wind.
And how many people? Is it
You
just
and Chelsea. Date.
Three of us? No, I think it should be the
Or the three of us? Okay.
You can't just do me and then go to Trav and change the whole picnic.
No, I was just gonna do you for this.
He's just him.
I think all of us.
All right.
The six of us are going to the picnic.
Okay.
And I'm leading this thing off.
Yeah.
Well, I think how many items do I get to bring?
How many? Whatever you want.
No.
Was this a science
One.
question?
One item. Okay. So my contribution to the picnic is going to be Ruffles.
Food and a drink.
Okay. Ruffles for me. Ruffles wavy. Sour cream and onion dip. Gotta have it at the picnic. It's going to be a pass around. So sour cream and onion dip and chips, hoping that whoever set this whole thing up has the bulk of what we're going to eat for the meal. But I'm bringing Ruffles and sour cream and onion dip. Can't go wrong. For a drink, I'm probably bringing some Coors Lights. I'm not going to the picnic if there's not going to be Blue Mountains or cold beer. So I'm bringing sour cream and onion dip, Ruffles, wavy chips with some Coors Light.
And that's, folks, 3 things.
Instead of food and a drink, prick.
I'm bringing.
You're not eating Ruffles without the sour cream and onion kip. You're just not doing it.
They probably have sour cream and onion Ruffles.
That's not the same.
No.
No, it certainly
And
isn't.
specifically Dean's sour cream and onion dip.
I'm bringing the ham and cheese Hawaiian rolls with the butter, and you bake them, and then twisted teas.
Okay. Like that.
Give me a
That's
little
Bacon in the same what?
cake with whipped cream, and then I'm a root beer guy. Just give me some root beer.
Ooh.
Rip beer. Okay.
Great, what do you
I
got?
have the root beer.
We got 8 people at the picnic now. Come on, Critter.
Shit, you guys named like 20 things. So Trav's got dessert.
Yep.
Geese has got
That's one thing.
essentially the entree. Brennan's got the appetizer.
One thing.
Kurt's going to show up with nothing and mooch off everybody.
Bringing a good attitude.
I feel like I'm bringing vibes with some music for sure.
There it is.
I think we're covered with the food.
Soft.
I was hoping you were going to say.
Yeah, maybe waters. I don't know. Yeah, go
I was,
ahead.
hoping,
Bring one item,
gonna be
Chris
providing-
brings nothing.
I was hoping he was going to say, I don't know, plates and napkins might have been this. But,
I don't think you're going to need that.
yeah, probably not. Not with the hand food. But
That picnic would be more interesting than this movie.
yeah, have a good time. But no, they're going to, we're having the picnic, or what desserts are we bringing to the picnic? And this is kind of like borderline middle of the movie, and that's where you went back to your 50-minute mark of whatever you said, because I don't remember. And I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, I have no idea what's going on in this movie, and we're over halfway.
Right.
And we're over halfway throughout this movie, and I still have no idea what's going on. And it bothered me. But we get to the next, and, that opens up with cutting wood, which is another manly thing to do. Slicing wood I've never done it, but God, it looks fun.
Hang on.
You're looking at a lumberjack right here. It's one of the
yeah.
best feelings in the world.
Now, Trav,
Yeah.
Being a construction guy,
Yeah.
did Will saying that he does all this construction work and everything and then not know how to chop wood, red flag for you?
What do you mean Will didn't know how to chop wood?
Well, Travis was teaching Will how to chop wood.
Other way around.
Oh, it was?
Yep, other way around.
Okay, that's... All right, that makes more sense.
Wait, take notes.
How does Travis not know how to chop wood? He lives in the woods.
Book
I
it.
mean...
Geese's doesn't understand the movie part of the movie. That didn't happen. Travis was learning from Will.
Yeah.
How to
Wait,
chop
I
it.
thought Travis was teaching Will because...
no.
Oh, okay.
Travis
Will
does
knew
not
what he's
see-
doing. Will knew what he was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
All right, well, never mind then.
Null and void. Wrong again.
Well, that's why I'm sitting here like, how the fuck... How does this guy not know how to chop wood? If he's
God
in
have mercy on your soul.
It's like the Family Guy scene where he's like, got the newspaper up, and Meg's like, Dad, you're reading that upside down. He pulls it down, his head's up.
Face is wrong again.
Wrong again, idiot. That's how I should start bringing up. I should start doing this when Beast does something like that. Wrong
Yeah.
again, idiot. And then Stanley, my God, we haven't talked about Stanley, and I knew it.
No.
I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
You bring an animal into a movie, the animal's gonna die. And Stanley
I
starts
knew that
barking.
immediely when we saw him on the bed. Guaranteed.
And,
And he said he's going to take care of him too. Like,
Lexi goes, they're not going to kill the dog. I'm like, they brought it here for a reason. That dog is that is emotional attachment. They're killing that dog.
It just the dog starts barking, it takes off, gone. Like, you're not catching a dog.
In the woods. No chance.
No.
I mean, you're not catching him in a field, so.
And Travis is like going off and like it's just so anticlimactic. Like, you don't see what happens. They catch up to him. Will gets there. Paul gets there. Dog, who knows the woods, will be back. Nothing happens yet again. But
It
you
just
know
disappears.
yeah, dog's gone.
This whole time you're thinking there's something out there, and then the dog just poof,
gone.
gone. No, oh, like,
Well,
like
the sound does. Yeah, the sound does go away. There's no more barking, but
no, I know that, but there's no attack
right.
of like the dog reacting to that. Just kind of like barking, and just nothing. And so your expectation there is that something is out there, right? And then
Yeah, the entire time. This is not anything new. And it's not even nighttime. That's what pissed me off. It wasn't even nighttime.
Right. Yeah, how could it have come if it wasn't night? What happened to
That's
the
a great question. Yeah. Thanks.
Sequel. It comes in the morning.
I'm watching that one.
No.
I think the sequel is It Came Again, or
No.
I don't think we should promote a sequel on this one because I'm a big advocate of sequels. The last two movies, this one, I hope they never even revisit the idea of a sequel of this movie. But I had a point of the next scene is like they get back home and Travis obviously bothered by the fact that the dog is gone, and he's drawing these pictures and Paul's talking to him and he's drawing these like demons and like ghosts or whatever the fuck in the woods and like they didn't say a word about it.
No. I had to rewind a little bit and be like, okay, did he say something about this, or like, what did we say about these demonic charcoal drawings on the piece of paper he had?
Just etching away, and there's just not even a comment. Are you kidding me?
Because he looked at it, like he looked down at the thing, and he just
Is this just normal?
see you in the
It
morning.
made me think, like, is this just the norm for Travis to draw this type of shit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
Weird.
Paul, protocol guy, check the kid. You got to check the kid.
You
He's
think,
your
he was,
kid,
you think he was kind of weary of Travis at all? And that's why he was like, I don't know if I'm going to lock into feeling like he's sick or not. Or if I just
being
push it
as
away.
the father, you ignore it, and not just subconsciously, you block it out.
Yep, I agree. I think being the dad, you just, like, you live such a wild life
Yeah.
in the situation that you're in that, like, you just kind of let it go.
Kid's got an imagination.
It's hard to let that go.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to let that one go.
If I learned anything from Paul, the easiest answer for him would have put a bullet in his head. Hey, Sarah, our son
His own
psycho.
Put it in his own.
He could have done that too. You know, I'm over this shit. But yeah, that part was odd. And then, like, literally right after that was the only kind of chills I got from this movie, where I finally thought, here we go. Because you get to the next scene and it's Will and Paul having a drink. And I thought, like, Will's kind of weird about drinking booze, and I didn't know if maybe he was an alcoholic in the past life, or like booze is probably run dry at this point. Like, you can't.
I think that's how I took it. Was that like, hey, don't waste that.
Like appreciative. It was like an appreciative like gesture of, dude, well, you can't find this stuff anymore. I don't need a glass. And they have a glass, and the first time I felt anything within this movie is when Will talks about being an only child.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother. I just got chills right now. Because I thought that was where, here we go, like, finally, we're however long into this movie, now the plot is going to just pop off here at the back end. And it didn't. But at least it gave you, it was the first time for me personally that gave me something. Like, it gave me a little bit here and there, but it gave me something like,
it's the
only
twist,
child.
right?
Yes.
It starts to get your expectations up. I liked how Paul just like, I'm going to bed.
You're done drinking my booze, buddy.
Yeah.
Taking the
and you know, like, Will knows that he fucked up. With how, like, they've been living how long together? The whole first interaction, like, you know who Paul is, man. Like, you know that was gonna trigger something.
I thought he did a good job of covering it up. Like, very quickly answering with my brother-in-law. Like, I could see that. Paul didn't buy it.
Right, but Paul asked for truthfulness, so he should have said my brother-in-law at the very beginning. Right. And so it's like, for me, watching, I'm just like I knew he was lying. Wrong thing, but I knew that story wasn't the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a good save, and at this point, I started to get my brain going of, like, what could be the twist here. And I thought, and you guys probably didn't, maybe you did, I'd like to hear your thoughts here of what you thought the twist was going to be at this point, if you thought this was the big climax of the movie. I thought that maybe, you know, whatever it is was, like, hiding in these bodies. Like, I thought at that point, like, it was going to be like, you know, this is what Paul knows about the disease and the whatever the hell was going on that caused this whole lifestyle. But I did think that maybe the whatever the thing was hiding in these bodies and just playing the part of Will, Kim, and Andrew.
Yeah, because I to go back to a previous dream, the one where he was tied to that tree, Travis saw him with the dark eyes, and he's like, you know, looking at him like, hey, I'm in this or whatever. So I was thinking the same thing, like, okay, this isn't really him because he lied. You know, I feel like the real Will told the truth. Now, whatever's in him isn't, you know, locked into telling what he had told him previously.
I didn't think that at all.
No. Yeah. That's why we discuss it. Yeah, I don't know.
No. That's the part. That's this podcast.
This movie.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's all open to interpretation.
Yeah.
There's nothing that sets you on the path to, like, all right, this is where we're going. You're just connecting the dots as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and I thought.
What did you think, Geese? Though, not to cut you off, man. What did you think of it?
I thought it was just a sickness, like.
No. Of that scene, like of.
When he lied.
Yeah, when he lied, like what did you think was going to come of Will? Kind of
what typically happens in these movies is that now there's distrust and paranoia, and Paul's going to kick him out. Like, essentially, kind of what we got.
Yeah, it is. You know, for a psychological thriller, you just predicted it and just went, yep, there it is.
Well, it's like, you know who Paul is. You know that Will lied. Like, you can't live together anymore. You already broke the trust. So it's like, it's just a, not a theme that is in these types of movies where you always get groups of people together and they never stay together. So at that moment, I was just like, okay, so like now we're going to get some traction between like the relationships don't matter anymore. It's family versus family.
Yeah.
Well, they extended the scene pretty well, too, because like the whole climax part of it where I thought we were going went into the fact that Andrew was now, like Travis wakes up, he's monitoring the house as per usual, and Andrew's sleeping in the dead grandpa's room on the floor. So they drew this part out, which they did a nice job with, where Travis finds him, helps him up, puts him back in bed, and then he goes back up, and the door is open. And the red door's open. And this is where I really locked in on the protocol thing of like, early in the movie, what do? Paul, someone's in the house. Or Paul, someone's at the door. Travis, on the other hand, door's open, investigates a little bit, and then goes and says, Dad, someone's in the house, door's open. Or didn't even say the door's open because that becomes a whole nother topic the next day, but
Yeah.
Travis, follow fucking procedure, brother. Like, there's protocol. Paul is a protocol guy. I've said it probably 10 times already.
Yeah.
Why are we not following protocol?
Right.
But they suspended, like, they extended, I should say, not suspended, what I think probably was the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
Which you could argue the back end maybe had a little bit more climax, but like this was the turning point, I would say. Like this scene from Paul and Will having whiskey to finding the red door open, and then Paul going out there, and they're all awake at this point, and Stanley's home, Stanley's dead, and like shocker, dog's not alive. How he got back there,
really messed up, man.
Yeah, like tore up.
That dog was mangled.
Yeah. Yeah, and they wouldn't let Travis go in, which I think I agree with.
I do agree with that, but it's like this whole time you get this, like, Paul's so overbearing. Just ridicules him for running away. Granted, I agree, but it's just like Paul's always in control, always in control. And then the twist here for me was that, like, Paul is quickly becoming, like, it is quickly becoming something Paul can't control.
Yeah.
And everything is just getting out of hand.
I think he was starting to notice that too.
Yeah.
Right. And it just happens when you bring in other people, like something always happens, which granted to the credit of the movie, the whole time I am like, it's always something with the family they brought in. When in actuality, it was all internal to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just like that Paul went through the standard procedure of put a bullet in the dog,
Yep.
kick him in the grave, light him on fire. I mean, like, he had it all, and like, there's so many lapses that he had throughout the movie of this procedure that he had all those things built out in play, and he lacked to put those in practice when you needed them most.
Right. And when he had to apply it.
Go ahead. Yes.
Go, Trev.
Nope. Yep.
I was gonna say
I'll go.
that. I was gonna say that all his rules applied to everyone except when he was applying it to his family.
Yeah.
Like when it came to him to enforce it on his family, he couldn't do it, but everyone was expected to follow his rules. And then if it was Will that found that door open, like he's probably catching a bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and what did we really find out with that red door being open? Like, it's not like somebody broke in again. Was it the entity? Was it the dog that opened the door?
Yep. Was it Andrew?
No. Could have been.
Was it the entity? Was there an entity? Was there anything that was looming outside? I don't fucking know. But like after that, I had a funny note here. All arrows. Travis, arrow, door, bang, again, outside, dream, question mark. Yep. Wait. Wakes up spitting black. Body decaying. Grandpa. Nightmare again? Yep. Like they just ran you through this phase of these dreams, and like that was the one that I was like, it did 2 of them where he did wake up, and then it happened again where he was in the bathroom spitting blood, and then he woke up again, and I'm like, Jesus, like none of this shit is real. And I'm like, can I get something substantial that matters in this movie? And I couldn't get it. And that scene was the best because it just, not the best scene, but the best at pissing me off of, I questioned whether it was a dream twice in the scene.
Yeah, this portion is the one they got right. Because this whole time, I'm like, is this a dream or not?
Yeah.
And then it jumped to something that was like actually a dream. Right? And it's like, okay, so if that one's a dream, was the other one a dream? And then I'm questioning the whole thing.
Yeah. Which, got to give credit to it. Like, that one got me, for sure. And not got me from jump, but, like, I was...
Made you think.
Mind bottling.
Mind bottling.
Yeah, when they take your mind, they put it in a bottle.
Bottle it up.
I wonder what is mind boggling then, because I figured...
It is mind boggling. It's...
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Mind boggling. Put your mind in a bottle and shake that thing up. Put the lime in the coconut, they say. You could also shake that thing up, too.
True.
But I was like, wait, so we watched Inception? Like, nothing, the most crazy aspects of this movie were all not real. All the shit that was supernatural or getting your brain turning a little bit was never real. Like, it was.
I think that's the point of it, though. Like,
the point. So,
you know.
To my point of when you talked about looking shit up, and I did the same. It's the psychological thriller part of it that I found was when you're in a situation like this, which I don't know if we'll be in a situation like this in terms of whatever was going on outside, but people probably live this, and I don't mean any disrespect to it, but when you get inside your own head, was the theme that I saw was when you get inside your own head, you start to make things real that aren't real. So I think the point of that, when I saw that, I thought it did a nice job of it, but like the movie itself didn't do that much justice to it. But I do agree with that point. Like, you can get inside your own head and start to think there's threats or things that are wrong that aren't actually happening to you, but you kind of go about your day as if they are.
Well, sitting at that table too, trying to decipher what Travis is telling the group, and then him turning his theory and his story and what had happened to the little boy, like, completely throws everybody off and throws everybody for a loop, which then turns you back around to think, like, okay, like, Will's also curious and, like, concerned. Like, it's not like he did it. You know, the previous scene where he slipped up and the brother-in-law thing made me think, like, oh, he's the bad guy, yada yada. And then when we go to this, it's leaning towards Travis as, like, the source of the issue that's going on with the movie. So that's the other bounce around in this movie. Like, who's the source of this evil, or who's the source of what's going wrong in this movie? And it keeps bouncing around, which, kudos to them, made me keep thinking, but I guess I don't really want that, you know?
Yeah, right. I would say that as a viewer, I shouldn't have to be forming my own pathway through your movie and drawing the conclusions myself. That's a personal viewpoint, but in small quantities, I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
But give me a payoff.
Do you think, after our last episode where we were talking about Rotten Tomato scores and the discrepancy of this one, I still don't understand the discrepancy of this one. Where are the critics seeing the great movie? Wait.
Yeah.
You know I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. It could be acting. It could be cinematography. It could be just like the setting and like everything that has to do with everything that has nothing to do with the plot. And again, maybe the people that I think we talked about in the last pod, I think critics get picked in particular to certain genres or certain movies, and the people that they picked maybe could have been folks that wanted to watch a movie like this, where the typical audience is not, like, you're not going to get this movie.
No.
You have to do your own research to figure out what you're looking at.
Critics.
An excellent examination of paranoia and human instinct.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
The one, Brian Eggert. Viewers unaccustomed to confronting unresolved moral dilemmas may recoil. But like, I'm not
What's Matt Brunson got?
A compact thriller that mostly succeeds until an ending that doesn't feel ambiguous as much as it feels unfocused and unfinished. That's my guy.
That's who I'm agreeing with. Yes.
That is an audience. Like broad scores, that guy.
What's that other green one? I don't have my glasses.
I agree.
Blue blockers, so can't read it.
I agree with this one too.
This isn't to say that It Comes at Night is a bad film, but it is a disappointing one. Yeah, I mean it is, and I know we've got a little bit to cover still, but like those critic scores that were bad, that kind of probably brought the 12% down. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Half a star. Oh boy, is this audience scores? Why is this called It Comes at Night when everything happened in the daytime? Great question. Point out, period, probably should be a question mark. It should be called It Comes in the Morning. They never showed how or what happened to the dog, how it got back inside, who unlocked the door, try to do better.
I don't
agree with that one.
Last sentence.
I don't disagree with it because I mean I don't need to know how the dog got in there, but
we know
that's how I felt. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, not to split the talking points of what we've been doing, but I just think we've been talking about so many of these points that would probably make us make a bad review, and it's reassuring that even critics are saying kind of the same things, but it's weird that whatever the 88% are scoring it favorable. I wouldn't lean favorable, you know.
Let's at least wrap it up before we really dive into it there. Yep. So Travis leaves again. I actually physically wrote an arrow to my last point of Paul, standard is the standard. Mike Tomlin, shout out again. I think this is the second time I've mentioned Mike Tomlin. But he leaves again. You don't do that. I wrote down Andrew is fucked, and I thought that they were scheming because I thought, but it's also protective nature, protective culture. Yeah. Paul and Sarah would have done the same thing with Travis, but I thought Travis was also fucked, so I didn't know what was going on. And I opened the door to questions here, or not? I'm asking you the question. Open the door to feedback. How did they get fucked? Like how Travis? I probably understand. But they portray it as if Travis gets caught by Andrew. And I don't know. And the only guess I have is that maybe Andrew came in with it or whatever it is. Like,
yeah.
How did those two?
We don't know how Andrew, at this point of the film, I'm like, Andrew's sick. Just based off the conversation that Will and his wife were having. Like, hey, no, like, they're going to think it's us. Like, we have to get out of here. So my mind immediately, it's like, Andrew's sick. And the only determination we had of that was, like, he was in Grandpa's room. That's where my mind went.
Yeah, and the explanation of, him getting caught and he was, seen by Travis and the whole door unlocked kind of leads to he was the one out there. And I guess I was thinking while I was watching was Andrew having these visions and not staying in the house, but going outside, and getting caught at night with the thing. And whatever it was brought the dog back or whatever. And I think the last time we see Andrew is at that dinner where they were talking about this. Like, we see him, but we don't see his face.
Well, I think... Right? Yeah, well, they really tried to hide his eyes.
Yeah.
So they knew something was wrong with him, Kim and Will. But let's just bottle up the end of the movie, and then let's get into some of these points because there's a lot. I think we've brought up a lot to tackle. They know Andrew's got something wrong. They separate. Right? Family stays here. I think it's gonna be best. We're gonna go there, and Attic Boy again, Travis hears him talking, comes back. Andrew's not right. Paul, Sarah, masks on, guns out. Let me talk to him, right? And they come out, guns swinging, get him in. They're hiding Andrew's face again. They know, and they, to their credit, they knew something was wrong. They go through the whole scene. Sarah's postered up. Good for Will understanding that Paul probably has a gun. They're gun pointing him out, and all I'm thinking is like, Sarah, fucking shoot the gun.
I know.
Shoot the gun, Sarah. That's why you're there.
Yeah,
is to shoot the gun. Why are you postered up in the hallway with an angle they can't see you to watch your husband get walked down the stairs at gunpoint? And she starts talking. Shit hits the fan. She shoots. They get him. Good for Paul. I thought good for Paul. Sarah, finally, they get him. Right? Will goes down.
Well, hang on for a sec. Did you guys notice? Obviously, you notice. I don't know why I said that. Will having a gun. Paul is again breaking his own rules. All the guns get locked up. Only I have the key. And yet, Will has a gun? You stripped him down already. Where'd he get it? Unless he had it and they didn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
I guess that could have happened.
Probably snuck it around, yeah.
Kim could have brought it from home. And that's a good point. I mean, but it's not surprising to have a gun in the room. I think you know...
No, that makes sense. I was just like, to Paul, like, changing things. That's it.
I think with my issue with this scene is, or this idea is, it's your house. You put them in one room and you roam about the house however you want. It's your house.
Yeah.
Why lock yourself in a room? You know, I don't really understand that point of view.
But he's a protocol guy. Like, I think if you have, you know, you got guests over, like, Paul also wanted to see if somebody in his family was infected. True. I think I respected that part, but
it was a fair call.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And they get it. Will goes down. Sarah does the job of distracting. Paul's a dog. Run away. Travis is freaking out, right? Paul shoots at Sarah, kills Andrew, and then they put her down too. And the movie kind of wraps up after that with Travis kind of in the same setting as what I think Bud. It took me the whole time to remember his name, but Bud, the grandpa with the infectious, you know, holes in the body. Something's got him.
Yeah,
and they put him down too. But that movie was bad, man.
I couldn't have been more disappointed.
Yeah. I agree, and it goes back to the fact it's like I have to look things up to find out what happened. Which, the dog got infected by Bud, which infected Travis. So this whole movie, Travis is infected the entire time.
You
like
think
that?
You
that's
think
the theory.
Dog got infected
right?
by Bud. Oh, that's the theory.
That's the theory, and then the hallucinating part is symptoms of it. So the dog thought it was hearing stuff, ran out. Right, and you know, got lost, and so that part doesn't make sense. Like, why did it just stop barking? Yeah. So then,
well, you think in the moment it gets caught by something.
Right, exactly.
But it's daytime.
So Travis is infected. That's all the hallucinations. He's the one who went outside sleepwalking, and brought either the dog was already out there or brought the dog back. He was sleepwalking that whole time. Came back, didn't lock the door. Then he wakes up, finds Andrew. So everyone in that house is already infected. They're all going to die anyway. So it's like...
For reference here, because earlier you said we know who opens the door.
That's it.
You did your own research.
Yeah, but that's just comments online. Like,
right, but we didn't know who opened the door. You talked about it like it was common fact. Like, we didn't know who opened the fucking door.
You could have made those conclusions from the movie if it was better.
Yeah, anybody could have opened the door because we don't know who opened the door.
Right? No. At the time, yes, you are correct. We don't know who opens the door.
Yeah, and I like they say Andrew, but like your theory makes sense, and I get that. But like in the moment, like you have no fucking idea who opened the door.
No, correct.
So
I apologize. Hand up.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to make that clear because I didn't want anybody listening out there to like.
I'm supposed to know who opened this fucking door, and I have no idea.
Who opened the door? Like, I didn't pick that fucking part up. Like, no shot anybody knows who opened the goddamn door. Like, to day. Like, unless you didn't say that theory, I wouldn't know who opened the fucking door.
Right. It's just convoluted. It's the director trying to make just everything open-ended, and at that point, it just doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
And again, we get another movie where at the end, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, they were, if they were infected the whole time, they're all going to die anyway. So I guess it's the journey that gets us there. It's just, to that review earlier, it's just disappointing.
Yeah, needed more substance. There could have been more substance with this, with the genre and with the plot. There could have been just a little bit more. Get me to. You don't have to tell me the thing, but get me to at least try to figure it out. And if I get there, great. If I don't, oh well.
I think that's where it missed. Was they left it up to interpretation because they didn't give you fucking anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I've watched movies that are in this category where you are always kind of thinking what this thing could be or what it is, and either they show you at the back end or they don't, but at least in the ones where they don't, they give you more of an idea of maybe what's going on, where this one didn't. And I've watched movies where they've done the exact opposite, where they do, at the end, show you what is haunting them. And that's, once they do, it flops. Like, it's got you by the balls, and then they show you, and then that part misses, and you're like, oh my God, I just watched this whole movie, and I was actually kind of interested, and then this is the end all be all, is whatever whatever this is. So, I think the thought, again, the movie was shot great, the casting was good, but the bread and butter of the movie and the actual dialogues and the plot itself and trying to get you to think about what it is, it just missed. Completely missed for me.
Yeah. I agree.
And it comes at night is the hallucinations. That's what it was. That's the sickness. So it's just,
there was no there was no antagonist.
No, and I think that's also everything's kind of the point with this movie, because you can make it anything the point.
Yeah,
and I think that's just where
it's not fun.
Just leaving it so open like that, it's just it doesn't strike high numbers for me, and it never will. And it could be someone else thinks it's the greatest thing on earth, but from this viewpoint, no.
Yeah. Well, that's where the critics are right here. And this movie was so good because we could all interpret what was going on. And the audience is like, what the fuck did I just watch? This movie was not good.
And that shows. Both those points do show. But
absolutely.
I think the gap is too high. If I had to guess, after watching the movie and not know what the scores were before, I would have guessed that the critics would have been around 50 to 60, and the audience would have been closer to 30. You know what I mean?
44% gap is massive, and that's, I think, huge. And I don't know if we really hit home on it last episode, but I lean thoroughly with the audience on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we really dove into where we leaned in the last one. I think you could probably all guess. But this one for sure,
audience, 100%.
Not even close. And you said at the beginning of this podcast that you thought this movie was better than Drag Me to Hell.
I did, in the terms of, because I thought Drag Me to Hell was fucking awful.
I thought this was awful.
That's your opinion. This is right behind it. Only because the other aspects of the film, everything that we've talked about, that we've agreed that this was good, was a hell of a lot better than Drag Me to Hell.
But I'm gonna go back to the triangle theory, and like Brendan said, there's nothing, and I would agree.
I think it still sucks. I don't know why it matters if it sucks worse or better than Drag Me to Hell. They both suck.
I just think Brendan's getting to the point that you had better talking points from the previous movie versus this.
And it was 62% audience. This was 44%, and you agree with the audience on this one too.
Yeah.
And, I'm not faulting that, but I can't like.
I mean, I like the music. Like the music, the cinematography, having it. Half of the movie I was engaged for. I was engaged in none of it, and dragged me to hell.
I wasn't engaged for any of this. I was watching.
That's fine. That's fine. But
yeah,
I'm just saying.
Well, I would like to point out that I am the background guy, and my favorite character of this movie was the dog because everything else about it sucks. That's why I went with Stanley, because I was a Stanley guy. Knew he was going down, but I can't promote anything about this movie. I hope at this point of the podcast that you probably have already watched it, because I doubt what we've talked about today is going to allow you to really sign up to watch it, or hopefully maybe it does. Maybe you have a different opinion. Tell if
maybe you're a psychological thriller guy.
Yeah, if you're into this type of movie, like I would love to hear your thoughts on it, because I think this movie was so bad. It got nowhere, and to the now patent triangle of horror films.
I might keep that going for other types of.
We need to
I might do that for comedy. I might do it. There's got to be where you can get two, but you just can't get all three. Or if you do, it is one of the best movies.
I will say, to your point, Brendan, we didn't even see the dog go down.
No,
we saw it dead.
No, we didn't.
No, we just saw
dead.
We saw it dead. We didn't see it go down. So,
well, he got shot. We did hear the gunshot, and we saw him get kicked in the grave and get burnt. Protocol. But yeah, I mean, my final thoughts is it was horrible. I don't know if you guys have final thoughts in this movie, but I thought it was bad. Like I mentioned, Joel Edgerton is a great actor. I don't know the other folks by name, and I got to imagine this didn't kickstart their careers. It wasn't good for me, and I don't think I've been a guy on this podcast up until this point that's really shit on a movie. This one I was excited to talk about because I knew I was coming and swinging.
I enjoy that we don't during the week, to everybody that's listening, during the week we do not talk about the movie. We don't share.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever mentioned that.
We don't do any of that stuff. So this is open thought, free thought, and initial thoughts all in one to whatever movie we watched during that week, and it's good. I think we have good dialogue, but when it comes to a movie like this where we all agree, it's kind of, this is probably more of a gray area.
These are definitely our quicker pods, is when like we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
The movie had a $5 million budget, box office $20 million. So I mean,
$5 million is pretty good. I mean,
I don't think it made that much of a profit.
Well, they didn't need to do any. They didn't do any like that much of special effects.
We probably gave them another $1.50 watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did rent this movie. I spent money to watch this.
As you should.
What's it say there, Crit? Yeah.
Just like what you said. You know what else was produced for $5 million? Another movie on the board. Us.
Huh?
Yeah, and that one is renowned.
I'm looking forward to this week.
Let's not.
I mean, it's on the board.
Let's not. If we do get Us, let's not give anything away, because
I have never seen it. I just know everyone loved it. That's it.
I'll give you my take on it without giving anything away. I've watched it like 6 times, so you can take that.
There's a discrepancy there.
Thoughts. I'm excited for this wheel. I'm excited to get it.
I'm ready for the next one, I'll tell you that.
Back-to-back horror was a little bit too much for me. I like to kind of sprinkle those in.
That was tough.
That was not a horror film.
Right.
No.
That was a thriller. I think that
exactly.
It should have been a thriller category.
And then you watch the trailer of the movie, and they give you all the cutscenes of all the hallucinations. So you're thinking something completely different going into it.
Yeah.
Which I do like those movies. Like if I watch a trailer and I don't know what's going on, like that intrigues me to go watch it. But this one it did that, but in a bad way of like he didn't deliver.
Hoodwinked you.
Honey dicked you is what I would say.
Better word.
But thank you. Anyway, guys, that was part 3 of critics versus audience Rotten Tomatoes score, and we've got one more movie to watch, and we've built out the wheel as you've seen already. We're excited to watch number 4. We can do our predictions and whatnot, but let's just we don't need to give it a round of applause, but It Comes at Night 2017 horror mystery movie, better known as a thriller, as we'd say. And I'd like to revisit that point, too. I think when we started off our podcast, we were categorizing movies. Now we're taking the categorization of what they give it, and I think that makes more sense because I would like to argue it. If we have a movie like this where it's a horror film and we would decide to call it a thriller, now we can give our stamp of approval on what we would have put it in, and this one definitely would fall in the thriller category. So It Comes at Night, guys. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's not going to be worth your time, but at least it's a movie you haven't seen before, and it's something you can check off your bucket list. So without further ado, Crick, could we get the wheel, and could we get the introduction and the predictions
Let's see what we got.
of movie number 4?
What did we guess?
It did change things up.
Was,
Oh!
I can't read any of that. You guys are gonna see.
Yeah, I know.
You guys are
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm gonna see my blue block.
Yeah, but we'll know what it lands on.
Oh, Trent.
You might need a black background for this one, Geese, when you get a chance, because you can't change you can't change the text on.
Oh, that's a good idea.
On the
I
wheel.
can do that.
I predicted
All right, we need-
butterfly effect. I think last week, and I'm gonna switch it up to.
I did Hook last week.
I did Mohawk. Crit did Spy Kids. I remember that.
I think we're gonna get Star Wars.
I'm gonna go Uncharted. If we get Us, I'll shit.
I'm going to go with But I'm a Cheerleader because I do not want to watch that whatsoever, and I feel like I'm going to just get rocked.
If anybody gets the prediction, what do they get?
Let's do a little wager, yeah. Let's do a wager. Who's got an idea?
I think we start with $1 each.
Hey, on
$1?
Or do we do a pool? We all put $1 in every week, and then whoever gets picked gets, like, if you get it, you get all the money in the bucket.
I like that idea. Can I take
Popcorn bucket.
Can I take it a step further?
Of course.
Popcorn bucket, $1 a week, or whatever number we want to. I think $1's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever hits, you use that money towards going to see a movie in the theater.
Bingo.
It pays for your next movie.
Yes, sir.
Love it.
Okay.
Crit, what do you got for your prediction?
And let's repeat them afterwards. Cause
I think I'm going to go Super Mario.
Oh, I got Star Wars.
Super Mario, Star Wars,
Uncharted.
Uncharted, But I'm a Cheerleader from me because I did not want to watch that movie at all. Spin that wheel.
That thing's humming.
Dinger.
Us is gone.
Oh,
It's going to be fucking Mohawk. I predicted that last week. No, it isn't. Yes, it is.
wow. Oh,
Mohawk.
Mohawk.
Mohawk. Crick, can we please get a diagnostic of Mohawk on the screen, please? So this one, just for everybody listening at home, I was actually done with my wheel and I found one more source to go find.
Oh my.
Action, history, drama, mystery, thriller, and horror. It's got to be great. 90
You guys
minutes.
don't want a mulligan?
The mulligan reappears.
I think it would have to be a unanimous if we wanted a mulligan.
I'm actually pissed off that I picked this last week and it landed. And honestly, I want to. Can we talk about the picture on the screen? Like, what is that? Is that a mask?
I don't know. I think it is. Yeah, it's a mask. Oh god.
I wish
I'm down to watch it. That's the whole thing, man.
I know. I think we watch it. 2018. I mean, it's newer.
Play the trailer. Let's see.
Let's see the trailer.
I think we have to watch it though. To Geese's point, I don't think we can play the mulligan game.
Why else would we have the wheel? You know.
I got to bring it back up because when I shared the wheel, I turned off the sound so I wouldn't hear the tick, 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 tick.
I shouldn't have complained about back-to-back horrors because now we have 3. Well, actually, it's action history, comedy.
Check.
Yeah. I don't think I have a triangle for that category.
We're gonna need to get a pentagon for this one.
I've never even heard of this movie either until
All right,
we
here
did
we go.
this wheel.
They're going to kill us all if we don't fight. We are in a valley, surrounded by a ridge. To the north, there's a river. To the east, there's a war. You will not live to see tomorrow. Not because of what you did, but of who you are. We need to move. Oksa!
I want the demons to leave and I will fight.
They're over there! We are advancing with speed after the enemy.
Now we have to get back and tell the people we're at war.
So if I were to allow one more of your kind to carry one more white man, could not face my Lord on Judgment Day. Aren't you worried about her? Being out here in the woods all alone? You should be.
We should have never come here.
This is our home.
Then your home will burn. Yes!
We
Mohawk one. We're in their house.
have to watch that. We have to watch that. We have to watch that. We have to watch that. I'm not no mulligan for me.
I'm so in.
Nope.
No mulligan. No mulligan for me.
We are gonna
86%, 32% from fans. I mean, what is that? 54%. This is the biggest one. We have to watch it. This is the whole point of the theme.
A lot of reviews, let me tell you.
100 ratings to 42. I mean, we have to watch it.
I'm in. Let's...
Mohawk. Trav, you look a little
Stressed out.
you know, that one looks pretty scary.
This movie's gonna suck.
Hey, for those of you at home that aren't watching on video, we just watched the trailer for Mohawk, trying to introduce that to the new movie, and it looks pretty good.
No, it's not.
86 and 32 or 80, like that's crazy.
I'm ready for the next category.
We have to know. we have to know. We have to know why the critics gave it that score.
I'm with you. I'm just disappointed.
I don't think that movie was produced by a big name.
No, the budget was like $600.
The violent movie. Mohawk. Catch us on part 4 of the Man versus the People. Scores taken directly from Rotten Tomatoes. Biggest difference that we're going to get throughout the set of 4 that we have is going to be Mohawk next week. It's an action. It's a thriller. It's a mystery, drama, crime, history. If you have a genre that you can think of that I didn't already say, it fits Mohawk. Doesn't matter what it is, throw it on the tag. We're going to be checking that one out. Hopefully we'll have another preview for you. I don't know if there's anything in theaters that we're going to go see this week, but I'm definitely going to take a peek and try to get out and watch something to just get back out there. Guys, you heard us talk about it a little bit earlier on. There's not a different feeling of watching a movie in theaters. It gets the blood going. It gets kind of the not the anxiety, but the anticipation rolling of walking in the theater, getting your drink, getting whatever side that you're going to get. You're going to get a snack. And it just builds the blood. So wherever the movie is, it could flop, it could be great, it could be an all-timer, it could be one you hate and you spent money on it, who cares? Go out, watch movies, just like us. We pumped it up, we're going to continue to do so. And when you guys get there, and you do get that extra large drink, and you happen to go over to the Pepsi machine or the Coke machine where you can pick all the flavors nowadays, and you find the exact drink that you want. Or maybe you're at home, and you picked up the Sprite Zero. You're watching a little bit of those calories, and you want that fake sugar instead of that real stuff. Maybe you got a Coke Orange, brand new, shout out Coke. And you sit down and you grab the Oval Redenbacher out of the cabinet, or you're getting to the cashier and you say, I want the extra large bucket. And you walk over to that machine and press that button. Or you're at home and maybe you just go old school and you melt the butter prior to pouring it onto the popcorn. Make sure that you don't forget that extra butter. Catch you next time.
Extra butter on the corn for me. Extra butter. I hope they don't charge a fee. but it won't matter anyway. I got a good movie to play. I'm gonna ask my friends to stay extra butter for me.